Hey there, it's that time of year. They've just announced WWDC dates, which is the Worldwide Developer Conference for Apple developers. It's coming up in June, and with that, every year they have the Swift Student Challenge. Now, in past years, it's been all about Swift Playground books, and I've done a few tutorials on that you can go watch about how to build Swift Playground books. Now, this year, it's more focused on Swift Playgrounds 4, where we can now build full apps with Swift UI on Swift Playgrounds. So that's the kind of goal for you this year. It's not to build a Swift Playground book, but it's to build an app in Swift Playgrounds. Now, we're going to go into that in a little bit, and we'll have some videos for that coming up soon. But what we're going to focus on right now is if you are still keen on doing Swift Playground book development, I'm just going to show you a couple of things that make life a little bit easier. And we'll have it updated to reflect some of the new tools that we have. So there's the Swift Student Challenge, of course. That's not going to be relevant for this video. What we're going to be talking about is this Swift Playgrounds author template for Xcode 13.2. Now, if you're living on the edge and you're up to date with everything, you know that we already have Xcode 13.3. And we're going to see some little wrinkles with that. So let me open up a Playground book that I've been working on. This is Xcode 13, as we can see here. Xcode 13.3. I'm using the author template for 13.2, and we'll just take you on a quick tour here. So I have a few targets here, and we talked about this in a presentation not too long ago, where we have the live view test app, so we can actually test out our live view and build our live views in Interface Builder, which is a huge bonus to the author template. We also have this Playground book target, and this is the thing that actually builds my Playground book at the end of the day. So when I have all my code ready, I want to actually get this thing onto an iPad and Swift Playgrounds. I would choose the Playground book target, and I would just hit Command B to build. So we're building, and I can see immediately that my build failed. So if I tap on this, it's going to tell me that I had this module compiled with Swift 5.5.2, cannot be imported by the Swift 5.6 compiler. This is because I'm using the author template for 13.2, and now we've got Xcode 13.3, which has a different version of Swift. So what I have to do for this, and what you have to do for this, if you're seeing the same error, is you need to go download a new toolchain to support this Swift 5.5.2. So let me show you where to get that. So you go off to swift.org, just www.swift.org. There's a download link here on the side. And we can see the releases. So Swift 5.6, that's the one that was released with Xcode 13.3. And if we scroll down, we get to this part here that's a bit subtle, so you might miss it. You might scroll right past and go to snapshots. We want this Swift 5.x series. So we're going to tap on the triangle. We can see Swift 5.5.3. That was released only for Windows and Linux, so we don't care about that. The error message back here says Swift 5.5.2. And that's this one here. So what I would do is I would tap on this, and what you're going to do if you're running into the same problem is tap on Toolchain. It's going to download that file. I'm going to go grab it from my downloads in just a second. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you an installer to install a new toolchain. And I'm going to show you where that shows up in Xcode. Almost done. All right, so what that looks like is a normal package. When I open it, it's going to say install Swift open source Xcode toolchain. I'll go through the steps, continue. I can pick install for all users of this computer and just hit install, and it'll install it for me. I've already got this installed, so I actually don't need to go through this step. So I'm going to go back to Xcode, and this is the Playground book that I wasn't able to compile. Once I've installed that toolchain, what I should see is under the Xcode menu, a new item called Toolchains. And right now I have the Xcode 13.3 toolchain selected. That's the default one that most people don't have to switch because you're just working with the latest and greatest version of Xcode, and that's what you're you have all the source code that you're building, and you're good to go. But now I have this Swift 5.5.2 released. I'm going to select that. Now if I hit Command B, it's going to tell me that I should update to recommended settings. But I get this building message over here. It takes a while because this is a fairly large Playground Book project. Now with the 13.2 template, of course, I need to go up to Product and say Show Build Folder in Finder. And this will show me this folder here. And to find my Playground Book that I just built, I'm going to go to Products, Debug iPhone Simulator. This one's getting ready for Eid, and then I can double click it. And because we have playgrounds on the Mac as well as on the iPad, we're able to see both of them now. It helps if I double click it. It'll tell me, or rather ask me, are you sure we want to open this? We can say open. And then we're good to go. Our playground looks perfect. So that's how to work through these issues with the toolchain. Now, what you're going to see is when you start working on another project, you're going to go to build it, and you're going to run into issues because you're not using the latest toolchain. So you'll just have to switch back to Xcode 13.3. You may run into issues where your project isn't building, and it's still giving you that same message about the module. In that case, you may need to close the project and then reopen it again. In the very worst case scenario, close Xcode and reopen it again. But that should get you on your way if you're working with Swift Playgrounds and the author template. I really love that tool. I think it's an amazing tool. I think it's really fun and engaging to create these playground books. So if you're giving it a shot, this hopefully will get you going with the new toolchain. All right, we'll see you soon.